Welcome back, everyone. It's We Cake and another episode of the Netcast. Another episode of the Netcast, ready to talk hockey to all of you tonight. Today, this afternoon, thank you for showing up. Today's episode, I want to talk about struggling franchises. Now, when you come to my channel, you come to listen to me, you come to see me, and you're like, can you talk a lot about a couple of things, underdog teams and expansion. Yes, first of all, expansion is really exciting. I mean, yes, you're right. Those are things I talk about a lot. But at this particular part of the season, see, we're not normally in an NHL season. You don't really have a strong comprehension for what are going to be the top teams, the most consistent teams, or the teams that you feel like are going to be closer to the playoff race, or teams that look like they are going to be doing better in the draft. You don't really get a better understanding for that until you're about, I always say, 2 weeks into December. Because the Buffalo Sabres always have some sort of like weird win streak at like the late October, beginning November, and then they like lose all through like December. So a lot of teams, they get started out to the schedule, they get started out to the season, but like I say a lot of times, some players aren't prepared for the 82, soon to be 84 game seasons. Those seasons are long. They're meant to be long. It's meant to show endurance. It's meant to show what you're capable of. Multiple times, multiple games, multiple different interactions, not just the same game, not just the same team. So you play a bunch of games. And from these games, you get a sample size of, hey, is this a competitive team? Is this a rebuilding team? Is this a Stanley Cup contender? Is this a playoff contender? Is this team ready for the golf course? That's a conversation that we talk about when we're talking about the variety of different hockey clubs throughout the league, and not just that, different time periods throughout the league. For example, I mean, you get a couple weeks away from the playoffs, you pretty much, I mean, you know what's going to happen. You're like, well, this team's got to win this or that team's going to win that. You get a better understanding. But as of the beginning of the season, you don't always have a strong comprehension of how teams are going to work. Now, this week, this episode, I want to focus a lot about the Nashville Predators. The Nashville Predators, they're a franchise that seems to have a fantastic culture. They're a franchise that seems to have fantastic fans, plural, fans. But the thing that I'm noticing from the Nashville Predators is that I don't see a lot of identity in the Nashville Predators. I see that they're a hockey club. I can't tell if they're a tight defensive group. I can't tell if they're a team that just wants to win by a goal, neutral zone trap. I can't figure it out. It feels like sometimes the identity is ever shifting. But the other thing is that you can sometimes, when it comes down to your identity on a hockey club or a sports team or whatever you want to call it, one of the biggest things it's going to come down to is your players, your general manager, ownership, right? And the other thing is like rules change. I mean, certain teams used to have rough and tough, I can't even think of themes, rough and tough themes. They used to, everybody's like, man, I don't want to play against them. I'm going to get beat up. Or, wow, if we play against this team, they're going to rip pucks from the blue line because they're just trying to get it on the pucks to the net. They're just trying to get a rebound off the goalie. Sometimes you have teams that are like, let's just dump this puck in. Sometimes you have teams that are like I said, neutral zone traps. So you kind of got to figure out which type of team you want to be. Nashville Predators have no idea what they want to be. The Nashville Predators, and I think I read this and heard this. I think it may have came from the Steve Dangle podcast. So I'm giving you your credibility. But when it comes to the Nashville Predators and the way that they play hockey, it just doesn't feel like everyone's on the same page. What they were talking about on the Steve Dangle podcast is they were talking about Barry Trotz, the general manager of the Nashville Predators. Now, Barry Trotz has been and is a Stanley Cup championship coach. However, when you're around the sport, your playing capabilities might not translate into your coaching capabilities. Your coaching capabilities may not translate into general manager capabilities or president of hockey like so many different things, right? There's so many different, I'm like, I had a goalie coach, maybe you're so there's so many different ways that players can fall into management, fall into a leadership position. It happens a lot, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the knowledge that you had at that other position is going to translate and smoothly transition over into that other element. It doesn't necessarily always happen that way. So when you look at a coach like Barry Trotz, and Barry Trotz, or general manager, I guess, if you look at a general manager like Barry Trotz, one of the biggest things that he did is he started making big trades. He was like, you know what? Our team doesn't have the gas. We can't compete. And that's kind of been the thing about Nashville ever since they went to the Cup and lost to the Penguins in 6 games. They have been a lot of teams, after you lose a big tournament like that, you lose the Stanley Cup, some teams bounce back. Some teams go through a vision quest journey to figure out and discover who they are. I mean, look at the San Jose Sharks. I mean, they were competitive, and they were getting to conference. They were kind of getting the second round of the playoffs. I mean, they became the biggest thorn in the side of the Golden Knights. But then they started rebuilding, man, and they just started doing really bad. I mean, now they got Macklin Celebrini, so it's a completely different conversation for the Sharks. But the Predators right now, they're starting to flail. So they went ahead and pulled the trigger. They picked up 2 All-Stars. Jonathan Marchessault, Stanley Cup champion, Vegas Golden Knights. And then in addition to that, they decided to go for a first overall draft pick. I think he was drafted first overall in 2009, 2008. But Steven Stamkos of the Tampa Bay Lightning, the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, Steven Stamkos. He is a member of the Nashville Predators. He struggles to score a lot. It's bad. It's really bad how much the Predators are struggling to produce. Let me just go ahead. So we are currently, today the date is the 25th of November. It's a Tuesday. So we're almost at Thanksgiving. We're almost done with the second month. We're not quite 2 weeks into the month of December, which is when I really start making a lot of my more aggressive opinions, a lot more aggressive stances, because at that point I have a very strong sample size. A third of the season is over, but by the time a third of the season is over, you're going to know a lot of stuff, right? You're going to know if they got the gas, if they don't got the gas. It's a really big thing. So listen to this when I talk about points, just points, individual players with points. The Nashville Predators currently right now have 5 players in their top points category. A 3-way tie for second place, or third place, sorry. So leading the team is Philip Forsberg at 16 points. Ryan O'Reilly, second place, 13 points. A 3-way tie between Michael Bunting, Eric Holla, and Luke Angelista with 11 points all respectively. 11 points. 11 points. So I am going to back out of the Nashville Predators, and let's just look at some of the league leading things. League leading for, let's look at points. So right now, Nathan MacKinnon, 37 points. That's first. How far back do I have to get to 16 points? What other teams are around 16 points? You got Kiefer Sherwood of the Vancouver Canucks, who I personally think Kiefer is a super, super, super important player in regards to the way that he plays. I think he's a bigger player that I think he can compete with a lot of lines. I think he's a top line player, top 2 line player, top 6 player. I would definitely say keep an eye out for Kiefer Sherwood. Pavel Dorofei of the Vegas Golden Knights. Another player that's putting up 16 points. Shane Pinto, Ottawa Senators. Anthony Cirelli, Tampa Bay Lightning. Kevin Fiala, Los Angeles Kings. JJ Peterka, Utah Mammoth. Gabe Velarde, Winnipeg Jets. Dylan Cousins, Ottawa Senators. Bennett Sankey, Anaheim Ducks. Ryan Nudgkins, Oilers. Rasmus Anderson, Flames. It's really rough for that Nashville Predators team right now. That's not enough points. Now think about their goal production. Philip Forsberg, 9 goals. Ryan O'Reilly, 6 goals. Matthew Wood, 6 goals. They're tied. Matthew Wood has 1 hat trick this season and a 6-3 loss against the New York Rangers. And he's tied for goals. 3 of his goals came from one team, one game. He was the only player that scored that game. He was the only player that scored against the New York Rangers. 3 goals. And you're tied for 2nd place on your team? Oh, that's bad. You are never going to be competitive with something like that. Now, sometimes some people say, well, there's time to play. There is time to play. There also is time to play for other teams. And that's the rough part for the Nashville Predators. Mike Bunting has 4. Jonathan Marchessault has 4. Steven Stamkos has 4. A 2-way tie. 2-way tie for 2nd and a 3-way tie for 3rd. Now, all these stats, of course, are being brought to you by NHL.com. I also use a little bit of Puckpedia myself and a little bit of, what's the other one? Hockey Reference. Shout out to Pops. So for the Nashville Predators, I mean, the players that, now listen to this. So that's their goals. 966, 966, 444, if that's the way that you want to look at it. I popped something up over here on my computer because I was very curious to know the way that this team was essentially running, the way that this team was being ran, because I was very curious to know about their salary cap for this team, because when I look at this team, you have Philip Forsberg making $8.5 million. Okay, you're your team's highest point generator, your team's highest goal scorer. All right, not saying that you've earned it so far this season, but so far you're playing like your team's best player, which is what they pay you to do. Next, Steven Stamkos, $8 million, and he has 4 goals. 4 goals. But that's the thing, though. He is the first overall pick from over a decade ago. He's slowing down. Father Time is undefeated. I'll say that a lot. Father Time is undefeated. And when I look at this, when I look at the way that the Nashville, I mean, I'm not even done with these players. Steven Stamkos, it's just sad. Is there a team that he could be competitive on? Who knows? But I think Steven Stamkos, it could be the same reason that the Lightning gave up on him. His 5-on-5 scoring doesn't exist anymore. He doesn't have gas in his skates anymore. He doesn't really have the burst of speed. And when you're skating down the side, if you're skating to try and make a goal, I mean, he obviously is a center, but it's really hard to blow past people when you can't move. And you're not going to get that shot off. You're not going to get that quick snapper off anymore. So Stamkos, although he did tie the game against the Minnesota Wild with like 0.02 seconds left. So that was a pretty impressive, a good old classic Stamkos slammer where it was like, that puck, I'm surprised if that puck doesn't rip a hole in the back of the net. I'm surprised if that puck doesn't shatter through the glass and just completely give a fan a concussion. That's where my thoughts come from for Steven Stamkos. So the next player is Jonathan Marchessault. Jonathan Marchessault, of course, a Stanley Cup champion with the Vegas Golden Knights, a part of the famous Misfit line with William Karlsson and Riley Smith. He has a $5.5 million cap hit. 4 goals. You were a 40 goal scorer, 30 goal scorer. I'd say 40 goal scorer for Marchessault. 40 goal scorer. So you're a 40 goal scorer and you're at 4. Now, the big thing is, yeah, he doesn't necessarily have this team isn't built to score. So that's another thing that I find really interesting. Like I said a little bit earlier in this video, different teams have different identities. Some teams don't care if they win by a goal. Some teams just want to pepper on goals, so that's the only thing that you can think about is that the best defense is a good offense. Some teams are able to maintain that ideology. Some teams are not. Now, Marchessault, I just don't think he has the support. I don't think Marchessault has the support on that team. So Marchessault he's not going to generate anything. I mean, you look at all the other players, there's just not a lot of promise on this team. And I'll even pull up, you know what? I'm going to pull up one additional thing live, because that's what professionals do. Is I really like to use the site Daily Faceoff. I really like to use the website Daily Faceoff because I feel like it really gives me a strong comprehension of how these teams are working. So listen to these line projections. First line, Philip, from left wing, center to right wing. Philip Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly, Luke Evangelista. I always mispronounce Evangelista. So 2 veterans, 1 youth. Third line, Steven Stamkos, Eric Holla, Matthew Wood. 2 veterans, 1 youth. Third line, Michael Bunting, Michael McCrone, Jonathan Marchessault. Marchessault with Vegas, he played up and down, first, second, third line, because that team was so deep. They had so much depth. The talent in that team was overflowing. Their third line was better than most teams' first line. I'm being completely honest. That line is abysmal. Fourth line, Tyson Yost, Fedor Svechkov, and Ozzy Weisblatt. You got a veteran, you got a little bit of a veteran, and then you just got some unknowns there. You got some youth. Defensive pairings, Nick Hague, Roman Josi, Brandon Skagey, Nick Perbix, Spencer Stastny, Nicholas Blankenberg. Of course, they have Jussi Saros and Justice Annunen. Sounds like they have Cole Smith and Zachary Lehurix as injured right now. So when you look at those lines and you see that you don't necessarily I thought Steven Stamkos, I don't remember if he was a center or if he's a wing, but he's playing left wing right now. And it just feels like the Nashville Predators are really, really, really trying to focus a lot more on their veterans, less on their youth. It's a really weird sense to where they're like, yeah, we're gonna, and that's the hardest thing for a team when it comes to, what do you want to say, free agency? When you're picking up and adding new players to your team, it's got to be so difficult and so confusing for so many teams to be like, well, I hope this veteran can jive. Because there's getting a veteran, there's getting a player that has I honestly, not to take a side tangent, but Taylor Hall, I think that's literally been his entire problem, is he just can't find synergy with the way he plays. I don't know if he is a selfish player. I don't know if he's not a team player. I don't know if all he thinks about is himself. But that's what it feels like. That's what it honestly feels like right now. And that's really hard for the Nashville Predators. So when we're talking about youth, when we're talking about the lack of production on the Nashville Predators, you might start thinking about, and we're going to transition to this in a little bit, what is the next best thing for the Predators? What is in the farm? What is in the minor league? What's in the AHL? What's in college? What does the Nashville Predators have coming for their team to make it so they might not have to hit that red alarm, so that they might be able to feel a little bit more comfortable with their team? So before we go to the youth, let's go over the defense. let's go over the goaltending to finish out those salaries. And then we'll get into start talking about some of this youth before we start to talk about our next subject for today, everybody. So for the defense, you got Roman Josi. Everyone knows Roman Josi. He's the captain. Roman Josi, $9.06 million cap hit for the Nashville Predators. Roman Josi and Philip Forsberg, those are kind of your draft picks. Those are your players that you kind of raised for the most part, that I believe. So you just feel like you're going to take care of them a little bit better. But then you got Brady Skagey. I always pronounce her name wrong. $7 million. Age, oh, dude, I didn't even go over the ages. And then you got Nicholas Hague making $5.5 million. Let me quickly just, and then finally we got, for the goaltending, you got Jussi Saros. So let's start with some of those ages. Philip Forsberg, 31. Steven Stamkos, 35. Jonathan Marchessault, 34. Ryan O'Reilly, 34. Yeah, Mike Bunting, 30. Eric Hollett, 34. Roman Josi, 35. Brady Skagey, 31. Nicholas Hague, 26. Jussi Saros is 30 years old. It's not a young team. And the problem is that when you have so many players on your team that are already at that age, that are already at the point to where their best days are behind them. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes if these players can get traded, if these players can get moved and possibly find a different team to play with, a different group of guys to gel with, different coaching staff, different environment, it's possible. It's possible. Hey, maybe Marchessault goes to the Rangers and then he unlocks the Rangers, right? Maybe Stamkos goes to the Maple Leafs. Maybe Stamkos goes to the Maple Leafs and all he does is take feeds from Nylander and just starts ripping pucks. And just thinking about other ideas is that you got to think about something that you're going to do, and you got to commit. Now, here's the thing. The Nashville Predators right now, when we are looking at the overall standings in the NHL, so the league standings, you're last. You're last place, Nashville Predators. Now, being last place this year is literally the best thing that you could ever ask for. One of the best things that you could ever ask for. Now, here is one of the most difficult parts in trading before we get to their youth. If you have veterans on your team, if you have players on your team and they're doing poorly, other teams might not want to trade their prospects or their picks or give you a lot. If they're like, well, now this player's bad because they played on your team. Teams aren't going to say like, well, this player was scoring 30 goals, but now they're only scoring 5. That's not good potential for us, so we're not going to engage in exploring this player any further. That's a valid thing. That is a valid conversation that can be had. Valid conversation that can be had about that. Nashville Predators have 16 points. So you take a look at like, all right, do you hold on to these veterans? Do you hold on to these players towards the trade deadline and say, so who wants some veterans? Fire sale. You want a player? I'll get you a player. You want a player? I'll get you a player. But then you're just like, yeah, your player can't even score. Why would I trade for a player with a $7 million cap hit if he can barely, if he's got 9 goals in the entire season? 9 goals in the entire season. Who would do that? No one's going to do that. No one's going to trade their assets for something like that. That would be an extreme lack of regard for any amount of hockey IQ, any amount of future proofing, any amount of planning. Very bad idea is what I would say. But that's hard because you're like, well, how much longer? And like I said, November's almost over. Once November is over, once you're 2 months into December, that is when the team, the general manager, That's when they can kind of just say, like, yeah, we tried and we didn't get there. Now we're in the Gavin McKenna sweepstakes. Not a bad place to be. Not a bad place to be. So that's something that you're really going to have to consider, Nashville, is that do you just go like, you know what? We're going to go full McKenna. That's our focus. That's our goal. We're tanking for McKenna. That's all we want is Gavin McKenna. And you can do that if you want. You could do that if you'd like. Honestly, it's probably the best bet at this point. And you're probably not going to get good returns for some of these other players. You're probably going to retain salary for some of these players. Let's just see how many first-round picks you can get. Speaking of first-round picks, the last thing that I wanted to talk about in regards to the Nashville Predators is I wanted to go over essentially all of the Predators draft picks or first round draft picks over the last decade, so to say, since I got a sneeze. Oof, I'm glad I paused that because that was a pretty powerful sneeze. So year 2025, fifth overall pick. I'm going to turn this a little bit this way. Fifth overall, Brady Martin. Looks like he's a center. And Brady Martin, as according to Hockey Ref right now, has played 3 games this season, has 1 assist, and looks like the average time of ice, 11 minutes and 25 seconds. Total time on ice, it sounds like. Total ice time is 34 minutes and 15 seconds. How many shots are they saying? Oh, he's got an assist. He's got an assist, no goal. So he's got an assist. He's got a helper. Now, okay, there could be some potential there. Now he's only played 3 games, and I like what they're doing. Don't use this full clause yet. I believe it's like 7 games you can get with a rookie or a younger player before you start. You have to start paying them NHL level money or whatnot. So Brady Martin, 1 assist in 3 games at the NHL level, not bad. Taking into consideration 3 games and every game is an hour's worth of time. If you've played 3 games, which is 3 hours, assuming there's no overtime, and you've played 30 minutes, that means that you've played a 6 of those games. You're getting ice time. They're trusting you. They're trying you out. They're trying you out, which is something that we like to see. Year 2024, they draft a center called Igor Surin, 22nd overall. Now, Igor has absolutely no data on him. So it says he was drafted from Russia, 22nd overall. I don't know if he's doing a KHL thing. I don't necessarily know all those things. So I'm going to be honest with him, not as knowledgeable. This Igor guy, who knows? Who knows? Big old question mark. Big old question mark. You get to year 2023. You draft Matthew Wood, 15th overall. He's a right winger. Matthew Wood, like I said earlier in this netcast, he has 6 goals this season, and 3 of them came from 1 game. 3 of those came from 1 game, which is cool. But it also just shows an extreme lack of production. It shows an extreme lack of production. And teams want their players to produce. I mean, that's what they're getting paid all their money to do. They're getting paid to produce. So Matthew Wood, year 2023, so far one of the players with the highest level of potential return. Now we're going to dug you over to year 2022, where they drafted a player called Joachim Kemel. Looks like he was drafted 17th overall. Looks like he's played 2 games this season, 2 games last season. Total 9 shots that he's taken. Averages I'd say about 10 minutes and 30 seconds time of ice last season and this season respectively. I don't think they've seen a lot from this guy. It looks like he came from Finland. I don't necessarily know anything about Joachim Kemel. From his play, now 4 games, two games so far each season. Just shots. For the 2024-2025, with 2 games played, he had 8 shots, which is good. But this year with 2 games played, he only has 1 shot. So a huge step back in production. A 75% step back in production. Not good. I think my math is wrong on that. It's like, it's a lot worse. It's a lot worse. But yeah, come on, man. I hope you get what I'm saying. But Joachim Kemel, maybe if he gets played a little bit more, maybe there could be more potential. Now, the next player we're getting to, 2021, 19th overall, the Nashville Predators proudly select Fedor Svechkov. Fedor Svechkov has, as of this season, as of right now for Fedor Svechkov, he has, how many games has he played? 20 games played. 1 goal, 1 assist. -9, averages about 12 minutes on ice. 25 shots on goal. Now, when you look at the Nashville Predators' struggles to score, this makes sense. This all makes a lot of sense when we look at the way the Nashville Predators have been scoring. And the trend is they're not scoring. So it makes sense as to like, all right, I can see why there's no output. But at the same time, you're like, you got a lot of youth. You're looking for that potential. You're giving him 12 minutes, which is, I mean, out of the 3 different periods, that's about, what was that, 12 divided by 3, 4 minutes. You're getting about 4 minutes every period worth of ice time. So you're getting a decent shift. You're getting decent potential. And from our earlier observation, when we were looking at the lines, he's playing 4th line. He's playing the center 4th line between Tyson Yost and Ozzy Weisblatt. He's from Russia. Let's see what he can do. I mean, honestly, I feel like this team is getting to the point where they just need to give the keys to the youth and say, "Hey, you're either going to drive this. You're going to either take Dad's car and you're going to drive it off a cliff, or you're going to get it polished and come back through a car wash, right? It's going to be one or the other. You're either going to succeed or you're going to fail." And at this point, you almost want to just say like, "Hey, dude, if you fail, then we said that we trusted you, and then you did bad, and now you can accept the blame." Whereas right now, I feel like it's still all of the veterans. Yeah, you're still a team player on the team, but you're not getting paid to be that producer. When you're getting paid to produce, that's different. He's not getting paid to produce. So you got Fedor Svechkov, not related to Andrei Svechnikov. He's just Svechkov. So Fedor Svechkov, 2021. Now this next one is going to hurt. This next one might be the biggest burner. In 2019, the Nashville Predators selected Yaroslav Askarov as they drafted him 11th overall. Yaroslav. Now, for Yaroslav, what actually happened to him is he was traded by the Predators with a 3rd-round pick and Nolan Burke to the San Jose Sharks for a 1st-round pick in 2025 conditional, Magnus Krona and David Edstrom. So this goalie is now the Sharks' number 1. Just about the Sharks' number 1 goalie. Now, as of right now, it's looking bad. In the sense that this player, it looks like his self-esteem, it looks like his attitude, it looks like his desires, it looks like his priorities are all in line and they're all accurate to what he's wanting to accomplish right now. So I like to see that from Yaroslav Askarov. It looks like he's really going to mesh well with the Sharks culture, and I think he's going to be able to cultivate a winning culture. And hey, I got traded, they didn't believe in me, blah, 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 blah. But I'm here now. Let's get these racks. Let's lock in and get these racks. Let's figure it out. Let's figure this out. So for that, not looking good. So now out of all those picks, he's one. I think he's the first person. Oh my gosh, he is the first person that I've seen that has gotten traded. Now we'll get to this next year. Philip Tomasino. Philip Tomasino, he plays for the Pittsburgh Penguins as of right now. So how did that even happen? How did he even go to the Penguins? I don't even know how he got traded to the Penguins. Is there a transaction? Traded by the Nashville Predators to the Pittsburgh Penguins November 25th, 2024. So about the same time last year. Wow! I'm recording this on the 25th. That's a year ago to this year. So exactly a year ago, traded by the Nashville Predators to the Pittsburgh Penguins for a 4th-round pick. So, a 4th round pick. Philip Tomasino went first round, 24th overall in 2019. 5 years ago, technically 4 years ago. Well, now it's what's now 6 years ago now. 5 years ago as of last year. That's a good math. So for Philip Tomasino, the way he's been moved, a 1st round pick for a 4th round pick. So they gave, it's literally like we'll drop around for every year that you continue to not produce or you don't continue to look like a player that is going to generate anything on our team. So Tomasino didn't do too good for the Predators, I believe. Obviously, that's why he got traded. And now he is on the Pittsburgh Penguins. As of right now, he's got, it's like for this season, 25-26, 9 games played, 1 assist for a -2. He's averaging about 12 minutes on ice. I believe he just got waived by the Pittsburgh Penguins on the 19th. So in addition to the way that this player was, yes, 1st round pick, he's dropping fast. And now I believe he's playing for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. He might do good. Probably no. Probably not going to do too well. I think he's going to get buried. This seems like a player who, unfortunately, I think his best competing days might already be behind him, which I don't want to see that. I want to see players compete. I want to see players reach their dreams. I want to see players obtain their goals. And I think this is a really big goal right now. It's a big goal, right? But I mean, for Philip Tomasino and the Penguins, it might work out. Now we're going to skip to our last 1st round pick, 2017, 30th overall, because he made it to the final and lost. Eeli Tolvanen. Now, Eeli, as of this season right now, oh, see it, dude. I thought so. He's a crack. Yeah, he's a crackhead. He's a kraken. not on the street. He's not on the street, everybody. Which is, I guess, maybe that's what you call just like fans of like California teams, but who knows, man. So we have right now Eeli Tolvanen. He is playing for the Seattle Kraken. Like I said, drafted 30th overall by the Nashville Predators. Let's go and find his transactions if I can. Oh, man, I can't find the transactions for this guy. I swear I had all my stats. But I'm just going to search it. Hang tight. It looks like, oh, that's my cord. Get down there, cord. So, oh, that's my code. Quit being all crazy. So, for Eeli Tolvanen, it looks like in 2022, he was taken off of waivers. December 12, 2022, selected off waivers by the Seattle Kraken from the Nashville Predators. He's 26 years young, so he has the potential to turn it around. I will pop into the Kraken's line. He is currently he's 2nd line. So he's a top 6 player for the Kraken, which if you're a top 6 player for the Kraken, you could be a top 6 player for the Predators. Pretty much the same problems, except one team's existed for over 20 years. What I'm trying to get at is that the Nashville Predators, they haven't hit on any, of those first rounds, we just went back all the way to 2017. I'll recount it. Listen to me. So starting from 2025, Brady Martin, Igor Surin, Matthew Wood, Joachim Kemmel, Fedor Svechkov, Yaroslav Aroslav, Philip Tomasino, and Eeli Tolvanen. None of those players are really doing anything for the team except for Wood. Let's see here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players are still on the team. Everyone from 2020 and beyond is gone. Yaroslav, gone. Tomasino, gone. Tolvanen, gone. So essentially, you only have players from 2021 through 2025, which is 2021, 2, 3, 4, 5. But, okay, 5 picks. Technically 4. I don't know. I'm counting my math. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. 5 players. You have 5 players that you need to see what they can do. Your teams are never going to be competitive if you miss in the draft this often, especially with your first round pick. Your first round pick. Now, they like this last pick, Brady Martin, top 5. Top 5 pick. Out of all of the first round picks that I've listed, that is your highest pick that you've gotten. That is your highest pick that you've gotten in years. In years. And it's crazy when you start looking back at their first round picks and you're just like, they don't hit. They're not hitting on their first round picks. What's going on with that? It's hard to understand how rough this could be for some of these players. And just how some of these players, it just feels like the potential just isn't there anymore. So for the Nashville Predators, I mean, play your games, but if anything, showcase some of that younger talent. This older talent, if they happen to do good, great. I'm guessing they're not going to do great. I'm guessing that they're barely going to get to 15 goals by the trade deadline. That's if you're at almost 2 months done and you're third place or second place, I don't remember what it was. I was too busy screaming at the team. Is that 4 goals? You got some problems, man. What was it? I'm already back. Yeah, you're third place. You got 3 players tied for 4 goals. Not going to do it, especially when you're one of your players that's tied for second in scoring on your team with 6 goals, scored 3 of those goals in one night. There's a lot more hockey to be played. There's a lot more potential to figure out. But when you look at the way that the Nashville Predators have continued to play and maintain their team so far, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. And when you have their coach, General Manager Barry Trotz saying, we need more effing from them. We need more effing effort. We need more. We need more. We need more. Eventually you get to a point as a player, it's like, dude, I got nothing else to give. I would challenge a fan of NHL. If you have Hulu, if you find streams some other ways, however you watch your hockey, I don't judge, man. I don't care how you watch your hockey. It's the last thing I care about. I do judge, but maybe not about how you watch your hockey. Watch a Nashville Predators game. I will challenge everyone here that watched this netcast to watch a Nashville Predators hockey game. Watch a Nashville Predators highlight. Watch Nashville Predators highlights. Come back here. Let me hear what you got to say. Let me hear what you think about the way that the Nashville Predators are driving their team. I don't think it's going anywhere in a positive direction, and I fear for the Nashville Predators. I want to see them be a good team. I want to see them be a competitive team. I want to see them hit on a draft pick. I want to see that maybe some of these trades that they made, that's not just going to go to some pathetic mush where you're like, we wait again, and you're just throwing money out. You talk about Smashville, you talk about all these things, but at this point, you got burned on your free agency. And now that you got burned on your free agency, I don't know how you're moving forward. I don't know how you're moving forward, everybody. But we're 45 minutes starting here into this netcast. This is the longest netcast I had. I was on a roll for this Nashville Predators netcast. If you want more team-specific netcasts, if you just want me to dial into a team, let me know in the comments. If you want to support this video or the channel, you know that you got that like button. You know there's that subscribe button. You can always follow me on X, follow me on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube. I'd be really happy to see your support. And I'd be more than happy to respond to you about your hockey opinions down in the comments below or on my X profile. If you're looking to do some collaborations, hey, I want to talk hockey. That's what I'm about here. This is Week Hiking. And yeah, I might be repping the Golden Seals today. I might be repping the Golden Seals. You're going to learn that I am the biggest Golden Seals fan. I'm the biggest fan of a team that I'll never get to see. Nonetheless, I am Week Hiking. Thank you so much for listening and watching me talk hockey. I will be back next week for more Netcast and news. See you this time.